When it comes to going on a diet, how does that sound? To most people, not very good. Now, I will admit, diets in terms of eating are not necessarily something that I've done a whole lot of, but there have been a couple of exceptions. I did go on an excessively high protein diet about 3 years ago when I was exercising all the time and trying to really bulk up. And I can't say that it actually did much good in terms of bulking up, but it did help me to overcome a limiting story that I've been telling myself for a very long time. But that's not the kind of diet that I want to talk about with you today. What I actually want to talk about with you today is a diet that actually I am practicing and growing in and recognizing more and more its importance in us living a happy, rich, fulfilled, and loving life. And it's not a diet that requires any money or any complicated attachments to anything. If you want to know what this diet is, I would love to share it with you. So come on, my friend, let's dig into the soil of this together. Welcome to you. My name is D. Grant Smith. I am the growth farmer for personal development through the lens of spirituality and storytelling. Now, what does that actually mean? Here's what I do. I help people like you understand and grow in the fact that your mind and your heart and everything about you is a garden. And we get to decide what it is that we are going to plant, cultivate, and nurture, and ultimately grow from the inside of us out, because that's actually how life works. We think that it's the outside that determines who we are, but it's not. It's the inside. And so I am committed to growing more and more love in my inner garden and helping other people like you do the same, which is why I created the Growth Farming Community. It's a place where big-hearted, amazing, inspirational, and wonderful people come together to support each other, encourage each other, learn and grow together. And I invite you to join in and be a part. I've got a whole lot of awesome resources there that will transform your life and help you grow more love in your life, relationships, and everywhere else. So join us at growthfarming.com. I'll put a link down in the description below so you can see how you can get so much out of our amazing platform. Okay, so here's what I have to share with you for today. It's all about dieting. It's not some crazy diet. It doesn't require you to cut out all meat or go keto or go non-sugar. And if I had to cut ice cream out of my diet, especially in this hot Texas heat, that's just not happening. We're not talking about that kind of diet. I'm talking about something called your mental diet. Now, you've probably heard this if you've studied any of Neville Goddard, because Neville talks about this quite a bit, and there's a reason for it. And I'm going to actually go further back in time than when Neville was talking about it and point to something that I've recently read, a book by Ernest Holmes called Creative Mind and Success. Now, I've mentioned this book a couple of times in the past several videos, but in that book, Ernest says this thing that I will admit, when I first read it, I was like, how in the hell am I supposed to do that? But I see that it's really about having a strong mental diet. I'm going to explain all of this to you and show you what I'm doing in my own life to practice this and experiencing a lot of awesome things, i.e. results, and how you can too. We easily get sidetracked and distracted. My God, is it easy to get distracted. If you spend any amount of time on this channel or platform looking for answers, not necessarily even looking for entertainment, although that can be a distraction too, but looking for something to occupy your mind, and it sounds really great in the moment, and you write it down. Hey, I've done this too. I write the notes. Then immediately I want to see the next thing, or just by habit, I scroll down to the next thing. End up watching that video. That's got a lot of great ideas. Write that stuff down. Not actually implementing as much of this stuff because I'm so distracted by the next thing. It's mental gluttony. And what mental gluttony or psychological gluttony will do to us is keep us distracted from being with ourselves in our imagination to create and to facilitate what it is that we want to actually experience. There's so many differing thoughts, beliefs, ideas, suggestions that we're scattered around all over the place. And that's the metaphoric equivalent to saying that you're on a diet, but going to a place that's kind of like Golden Corral, but also kind of like Texas de Brazil. I'm not sure if you guys have Texas de Brazil in the places other than Texas. It's a Brazilian restaurant where there's like this massively huge salad bar with everything under the sun on it. And then after you eat the salad, you go sit down and people come out with swords that they cut slices of meat from all different types of animals. There's venison and beef and chicken and lamb and all kinds of stuff. And you just eat. It's awesome. But if you're going to be on a diet, even a healthy diet, you're probably not going to go to some place that has endless amounts of food where you're just going to be eating all day, because there's constantly going to be something else somebody's going to bring you to cut off a piece of and for you to consume. And we can easily do that with our mental diet. So here's what a mental diet is, and the reason why I mentioned Ernest Holmes but never said what the quote was. Ernest Holmes said, "See only, O-N-L-Y, see only what it is you wish to see. Look at nothing else." Now, I read that and I was like, well, how in the crap is that supposed to work? Because am I not supposed to go outside? Am I not supposed to check my email? Am I not supposed to talk to any friends? I mean, I'm going to see a bunch of stuff that I don't want to see. How am I supposed to not see that? What he's talking about is the mental diet. What he's talking about is what we put into our heads consciously, willfully, decidedly. It's the same thing that Neville Goddard talks about with having a mental diet and what he calls a controlled imagination. And a controlled imagination is all about discipline. And so that's why I have made diet into an acronym to make it easier for us to digest. There's a wonderful D word. So D in diet stands for two things. Number one, discipline. And number two, divinity. Because our divinity is within. It's in our imagination. It's in the realm of endless possibilities. We have to have the discipline to only entertain in our imagination what it is that we want to experience. And when we're out of practice from this, and we have the old story playing in our minds, we can re-entertain that old story and then relive it over and over and over again. So have the D in discipline to control and see in your imagination only what it is that you want to experience. Now, the I in mental diet is two things. It is imagination. It is also intention. And this goes back to the D in discipline. Have the intention that what you are going to entertain in your mind, in your imagination, is only loving things. Only things that are a blessing to yourself and a blessing to others. Only what it is that, like Ernest Holmes says, you want to experience. Intention. Now, the E, as we're moving down the acronym, the E is two things as well: energy and experience. Our mental energy is powerful, but if all we're doing is spending our time in our minds, we're not letting that energy circulate and get into our heart space, then we're not actually engaging in the most creative and most powerful part of ourselves, which is our heart. As I've said numerous times, the Heart Math Institute did a series of studies, and they showed that the heart emits an energy frequency that is 5,000 times as powerful as that of the mind. Now, the mind does emit an energy frequency, and it is putting out a wavelength that does have power. But if we're going to talk about superheroes, the heart is the superhero of the whole system. It's the Superman of the whole system. It's incomparable in power. And so, with our energy, our mental energy, letting that transfer and feeling it in our hearts. So we have the discipline, and we have the intention, and we have the energy, and we are letting that circulate into our heart space and feeling it in our bodies. And from this, we are creating, we are performing magic. We are engaging with the Heavenly Father within, who makes all things possible. Bringing us to the letter T, as we are closing out the acronym for diet and mental diet. And T has two meanings as well, or two ways of looking at it. Number one, time, and number two, truth. I'm going to make this a capital T, truth. Because what we are putting inside of ourselves when we are disciplining ourselves and engaging with energy, using our imagination in a loving way, we are doing this and creating a new truth for us to experience. Now, how long does this take? It doesn't matter. The thing about mental diet is we don't do this to get a specific result and then throw it away. I think that's part of the reason why food diets don't work very well. Because if you're on a diet just to lose weight and then you lose the weight, but you haven't actually done the diet in terms of having the discipline to change the way you live, what difference does it make? Things go back to the way they were before. So we don't do this just to get a result, then we go back to our old way. No, we make this a part of the way that we live. We make this the way that we think. We make this our regular thing. Being on a mental diet is not something that I'm starting so that I can throw away after I achieve my desire or manifest my outcome or whatever the crap it is. That's not what I'm into. I'm into transforming my life and living that transformed life, growing more and more and more and more love within me so that I produce and harvest that in my life. And I am committed to disciplining my mind so that what I'm entertaining inside my mind is only what it is that I want to experience. Because, my friend, I've lived enough of the old story. I'm done with it. Delete, unsubscribe, no mas. How about you? Can you jump on the mental diet and do what so many of these great teachers from years and years and years ago told us about and lived and experienced and wrote about in their books? Do you have the willingness to give this a try and join into this process with me? I hope so. If you'd like my personal help in your diet, your mental diet, and in growing more and more love within your inner garden, coaching is now available. I've got quite a few different options that you can choose from in working one-on-one with me. I'll put a link to that in the description below. The mental diet will transform your life. Hit delete and unsubscribe on all of the distractions, all of the distortions away from what it is that you actually want, because it's not serving you. And it is occupying space up in here, clouding the way you see the world, the way that you see yourself, the way that you see other people. Get rid of all that. Surround yourself. Imagine from a place of love. I believe in you. I love you. Oh, before I forget, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and please share this video with somebody to spread more love and more hope and more transformation out into the world. I do appreciate every single one of you for being here. And I appreciate all of the likes and I appreciate all of the loving comments. Thank you so much. That does help me grow, and it does help me grow this platform and this channel. And it means the world to me. So thank you so much for doing that. I look forward to connecting with you more. All my contact info is below. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful, blessed, and amazing day, my friend. I love you. I'll see you soon.